In this lesson, we're going to do three things. We're going to make a dashed rectangle, align some text layers, and use the count tool. Let's start by making a dashed rectangle. First thing we need to do is go to the rectangle tool, which is down here above the hand tool. If I click and hold, up comes the rectangle tool. I'll select it. On the option bar, we must choose shape. The fill needs to be nothing. That's the red line. And the stroke color is black. That's fine. We'll change that in a minute. And the stroke size is 3.74. That's okay too. The stroke line needs to be not solid but dashed. It could be dotted. We're going to go with the dash. That should do it. And all we have to do is draw a box, and whammo, we got our dashed rectangle. If we want to change the size of it, we would click here, and as we drag this, things get smaller or bigger. So we have those choices. And if we want to change the color, we would click over here and choose a fancy color. There's a new color. If we get things the way we want it, if we want to make another one, we can do that too. It can be the same color or a different color. Go make all we want. If we want to move this, we're going to have to go to Edit, Transform, and once we have it transformed, now we can move it, we can size it, and then we can check it off, and now we have what we need. We can also get the move tool just to move the whole box if we want. So that's how to make a dashed rectangle. Oh, I almost forgot. If we want to make the ends a different shape, we can do that too. If we click here in what says caps, we can actually put a rounded cap on there. And let me make that one just a little bigger so we can actually see how that is rounded. See how it's got the rounded lines around it? So that's another option. Okay, now let's go on to aligning text. Here we have three text layers, 1, 2, and 3. Now, if we can move these layers around, of course, like we always can. That's fine. Now, if we want to align them to the left, we'll need to select all three layers. I'm going to hold the Shift key down and click on this top one. Now, all three are selected. I'm going to get the Move tool, which is the first one in the toolbox, and now we have all these alignment ways up here. What we want to do for demonstration purposes is align them to the left. So I'll just click on the left. Whammo! They're all aligned to the left. If I click on the right, now they're all aligned in the right. And if I want to click in the middle, of course they'll be all centered on top of each other. If I want to take this particular layer and put it in the middle between the top and bottom, I can click over here and watch this. What this is going to do is distribute vertical centers. Click on that, and now it's in the middle. So that can come in handy too. If I add text to one of these layers, let's say this middle one, I'll get the text tool, I'll click right about here. As I add text, notice that it still stays centered. This whole thing is centered. Now I want to show you this too. If you want to center all this on the page, we could select the background along with the layers. I'm going to shift click on the background layer, and now when I get the Move tool and I hit the centering one right here in the middle, it centers it on the page. Now, later versions of Photoshop do have the advantage when you're moving stuff around, these red lines pop up and they give you a clue where it's lined up. Like this is left justified with the layer below, left aligned with the layer below. If I move it over here, now it's right aligned. And of course, if I put it in the middle, you can see it lines back up in the middle. So there's a couple quick tips on how to use the adjusting alignment layers. And the last thing we'll do is the count tool. So we'll go to this large photo with a lot of people in it. Don't need this layers palette, so we'll close that. I'm going to zoom in on this so we can see some of these heads. We're going to get the count tool. The count tool is in here with the eyedropper tool. Eyedropper and these other guys. Here's the count tool, so we'll get that. Up comes the option. There's not that many options. We can pick a color. We'll go with the yellow. The marker size is the dot that it makes. The label size is the number. So let me click on one so we can see there's the number 1, 2, 3. As you can see, as I click on each person's head, I will get a dot, and that indicates where I clicked, and then next to the dot will be the number. So I'm clicking on all these people, and as I'm doing it, I'm actually getting a count. And so the count tool in Photoshop can actually count. So this way, maybe you won't miss anybody, and maybe you won't count anybody twice. So as I'm going through, I'm just clicking as fast as I can, trying to hit all these different heads, all these different faces. Let's see if I missed anybody. The best way, I think, is to zoom in a little bit. So I'm going to hold the Z key down and move my scroll wheel on my mouse. Oh, look, I missed him right here. There we go. And as I move around, has everybody got a dot on their face? And I think so. So there's the count. There's 53. Now, that's about as simple as this is, but you can actually make another count if you want. You can actually add a count. So if you go to this little gizmo right here, it'll come up, and you can count a second group. Let's say I wanted to count my siblings. S-I-B-L-I-N-G-S. So I'm going to type in siblings, say OK, and let's say I've changed the color to blue. Well, kind of a light blue, something like that. I'll say OK. Now I'm going to click on anybody that's my sibling. So let's see. Well, first of all, before I do that, why don't I go to the first one we did and actually turn it off so I don't have all these dots all over the place. I'll go back to sibling, and I will click on anybody that is a brother or a sister. Oh, there's a sister. There's another one. There's a brother. There's a brother. There's a brother. There's a brother. I think that's all I got. Everybody else is a niece, nephew, cousin, or some other type of relative. Okay, now let's see what we got. We have 6 on this one. And if I go to the count group, by the way, if you don't like that name, watch this. You can actually rename it. We'll call it total. T-O-T-A-L. Okay, so we have a total. So the total is, we'll do that and have to turn the eye on so we can count them. There's the total. So there's 53 in the total out of 59 of everything. So the siblings, there were 6 out of 59, and the total, there's 53 out of 59. I know it was kind of a silly little tool, but if you've never seen it before, now you have. Hope you learned something. Thanks for watching.